All right, so thank you everyone for joining and welcome to this session where we are today going to talk about equanimity. And the phrase equanimity, which I turn to call for myself as masti. And I tell people I constantly flow in masti. Now, what is this flowing in masti, flowing in equanimity? If you want to figure out what equanimity means, then for me, it simply means answering this question: if this, so what? If not, so what? If I'm able to answer both of those sides without a care, it automatically proves to me that I am not attached to the outcome of this situation. And as I'm not attached to the outcome of the situation, that's the place of equanimity. Now, I do what is demanded of me, I do what is needed in the situation, but I don't have to worry about what the outcome tomorrow is going to be. So, just last time we had talked about expectations, and expectations, the link being from attachments. Expectations, attachment, and then those leading to worries and all kinds of, holding on to outcomes. As we hold on to outcomes and we tie ourselves so much into the results, and that's what then builds the suffering for us. So, the suffering, the pain, the hurt that people give us come from expectations and attachments. And now, just imagine what if you were able to answer this question? This question being, what is it that I need to do? And the question being, the second question being, what am I feeling inside? Am I able to let go of if this, so what? If not, so what? Am I able to answer that question, or am I too attached to a certain outcome? When I say don't look at outcomes, and then you say, but I want to be a successful person, then how can I let go of the outcome of being that successful person? Or I've started a new business venture, and how can I just expect things to happen on their own if I don't run after it? And I say, well, if you still want to run after it, go ahead. My job is never to stop you from running. My job is only to make sure that as you are running, what is the feeling that you're carrying inside? Are you carrying feelings of uncertainty, anxiety? I've seen a lot of people actually have anxiety attacks. They build themselves into such a frenzy over their expectations. Now, this is my expectation. I must do well. I must be the first in my class. I must, consistently perform well. They're going to perform well, all right. But in that run up to that performance, they are building up so much anxiety for themselves. And that's where I focus. I'm not interested in the action that you are going to take. If you want to take the action of going after the business, going after 100 clients, and that's what makes you happy, then absolutely go after it. But as you go after it, keep watching within. Are you too much tied up to the anxiety of what if this is not a success? If what is not a success is already creating so much anxiety in you, release that anxiety to come to that point. If this, so what? And if not, so what? If I'm successful, well, absolutely fabulous. But what if I'm not successful? Oh, that's going to kill me. That's absolutely going to be the worst thing to happen to me. As I start to think of that, my mind starts to grow those possibilities of the worst things that can happen to me. Oh, I won't have house, I won't have friends, I won't have children, my children will not love me anymore. And now you create all of these scenarios in your imagination, and that's what you are constantly giving energy to. That's where all your energy is going, to all your fears and to all your anxieties. And I'm telling you, as you let go, if you can come up with this, if you can come up with the equanimous answer to this, that okay, if this, so what? Oh, if this, then wonderful. But if not, so what? And then you think of all the scenarios and say, no, something else will come up. And why will you be able to say something else will come up when you do understand that the universe is working in your favor? If you say that the universe is not working in your favor and that everything that is the worst will happen to you, then you can be rest assured that as you start to give so much energy to that one thought, then things will start to manifest in that direction. So, who holds the control in their hands as to what they are going to think about today? Well, you hold it once you are in awareness. And what do you need to be aware of? The first question always remains that what am I feeling? What is the emotion that I'm feeling? And as you start to circulate around that emotion, why are you feeling that? Oh, I'm feeling that because I got this very important new project and I've got to succeed on that project. Okay, if you got to succeed on that project, what if you don't succeed? If this, so what? If not, so what? What if you don't succeed? And then you will start to think of all the things, and then you will say, no, why should it happen to me? The way I work through this is when something, a very small negative part starts to manifest, I already understand that the manifestation today is happening from the energy that I'm already holding. So quickly, all my focus shifts onto the energy and what's playing out. So, what's playing out is creating scare in me. If it's creating fears in me, then very quickly I will put all my attention onto those fears and scares and I will start to release them. Will I run after, oh, this cannot happen. I need to stop this from happening. I need to call five other people and then this needs to stop happening. I will not do any of that from this energy that I hold because right now I'm coming from fear. So, what do? I quieten myself down and I sit quietly and I wait and I process this emotion. What if it doesn't happen? Or what if the worst happens? So, the one question that I also ask people, and today I'm going to give you questions and questions. So, the first question we always have: what's this emotion that this situation is causing me? The second question is, if this, so what? And if not, so what? Which is what we're asking. And the third question, with which I go deeper into the scenario, is what if the worst happens? Let me imagine the worst that can happen, and then let me see how bad can things get. And most likely, 99% of the times, I find that it's only in my imagination that I got all of these worst things happening, that the likelihood of that last worst thing happening is so little. And yet, I am moving with that fear in mind that that might happen. So, what do? I release that fear. How do I release the fear? I tell myself that the universe is playing in my favor. Now, it might seem in that moment that the universe is not playing in my favor, but that's only my limited perception. I have a very limited perception. I am constrained in this body, and I don't know what else the energy holds. But definitely, I'm going to give more energy to that part which says the universe is working in my favor rather than more energy to that part which says, oh, the universe never works for me and I'm constantly going through bad things. I have a choice in this moment to be in equanimity. It's a choice that I am exercising. So, I'm going to talk about one incident that happened, and that kind of conveys to you how it's always your choice to choose the emotion that you're going to operate from. So, many of you already know this story. I repeat this often. And this is the story about my mother going through a heart attack when we were at Mount Kailash. So there was a group of 20 of us who all went to Mount Kailash about 2 years ago. And once we were there, when the Kailash was right in front of us, 4 or 5 days into the trip, my mother decided to have a heart attack. As that happened, my first emotion was that of complete despair. What am I going to do? There is no hospitals. The closest hospital was about 3 hours away from us, and she was in the middle of a heart attack. And as we were in there, um, first feeling was of despair and what can I do? because there are no hospitals around. There is nothing that we can do over there. The closest clinic was about 3 hours away. And so I go into a lot of helplessness and despair. And as I'm going through those feelings, very quickly, I recognize those feelings. And then I decided to shift. Here is where the emotion is in my hands. Here is where I make a choice to come into equanimity. So at that point in time, I had my conversation with the fellow that I believe in. The person I believe in is Shiva. So I have a conversation with Shiva and I tell him that it's your game from here onwards, and I am going to leave it to you and to the energies of my mom and to your energies. And whatever you decide is okay with me. If this is the end, so what? And if this is not the end, then so what? And as soon as I decided that I'm going to come from a state of peace, though I was doing all the running around as before. But what changed? Earlier, I was running around in helplessness. As my energy shifted into peace and calm, everything around me started to go into a peaceful place little by little. My mother was still feeling the pain, but earlier, while she was going through with, okay, you've got to do something for my pain, you've got to do something, and then she simply quietened down and she was there. I was still helping her. I was doing everything from the body. My complete energy had changed. We went through 4 days of running around, and this scenario didn't finish till we actually landed up in Mumbai. Till then, we were only on maintenance medicine. Every doctor said that she's had a heart attack and she needs to get into a hospital very quickly. The only thing that I told my mother to do along with me was to be in my frequency. I said, tune into my frequency, because in my frequency, even death is a choice. It simply just doesn't come. It's going to ask you, and you are free to leave. You are free to leave if you wish to, and if you don't want to go, then you can stay. So just to let you know that this universe, that this particular frequency that I talk about, which is masti, which is abundance, it's a very, very powerful shifter of your energy. And it not just controls your life, it gives you a choice in the emotions. And as you tune into my energies, even death is not a destiny point anymore. You can shift that as well. It becomes a choice point. And that's exactly what happened. Though were we going in with this intent that we actually want her to stay? We were actually going with the intent, if this, so what? If not, so what? As we go into that frequency, the next manifestation that happens is from that frequency. It's no longer from fear, it's from fearlessness. As you operate from fearlessness, the universe shows you way more about your limitlessness. Nothing takes time. It's all about energies, it's all about frequencies. But just to talk about a little bit more about how to actually go into that space of examining what's the worst that you have imagined. If you can't think through what is the worst you imagined, I have a very simple process to take you forward. All that you need to do is to sit in a quiet place, release whatever fears you are feeling right now, come into the Meenal frequency, and throw this question to the universe. What is the fear that I need to release? As we just saw, we might come through instances in this life, or we might even come through instances in another life. It'll just simply open up as a story that's playing out, but you will know that your emotions are blocked over there. And wherever the emotions are blocked, it's largely from fear, it's largely from anxiety, and it's largely from attachment. There was probably a time, whether in this life or another life, where you had a large fear of loss. And that fear of loss stops you. You cannot go further than that, because either the loss happened once, and it happened once and you overcame that, but now you never want to go through that again. If you never want to go through that again, please understand it's a large fear that's playing out in your energies. It's a very large fear, and the fear has only one place, into the candle. And you will find that this question to bring you into equanimity gets answered by you more and more as you release attachments to things. Will success still come to you if you've released attachment to it? Absolutely, as a matter of fact, in a much larger way. But what is success going to bring to you? The success that you want, what is it going to bring to you? Oh, it's going to bring you deep happiness. It's going to bring you a lot of joy. And then I say, okay, then let's run after the joy itself. Because right now, with success, you got a 50-50 going there. If it turns out right and you've got your attachment to success, then you will get a lot of joy from it. But what if it doesn't turn out a success? And there's so many factors. Every day when we started 2020, we were not even thinking as to how the 2020 is going to turn out to be. And yet, if we were banking on this particular year to bring us success, now we're already sitting with a lot of worry. So here I say, if the worry is playing out, then release that and say, okay, if not, if this not, so what? As we start to understand the so what part of it, we come to surrender. Because what am I saying to you? Give it away, give it to the candle, give it to the person that you believe in. If you believe in me, you simply give away your anxieties to me. You give away your fears to me. If you believe in somebody else, have that conversation with them in the energies, whether it's a Shiva or it's a God, it's Christ or it's Buddha, whoever it is that you believe in, have this conversation with them and start to give to them. As you give to them, then you will understand very easily that whatever is happening in your favor. If it's happening in your favor, then what are we worried about? We are not going to count every small individual step. We are going to look at the outcome once the outcome happens. As every step plays out and there are a few blips in the middle, count it as not the ending, but somewhere in the middle. And that gets much easier to do with this question: if this, so what? If not, so what? The if not, so what will give you the next step if you believe in a power that's higher than you. And if you don't believe in an external power that's higher than you, then please understand that we actually are the power that's higher than us. We are simply not operating at that level. We are not operating at that frequency. And this is a journey from us in the body to get to that us in the journey. So, no matter what situation is with you, as you start to go into a new project, as you start to go into a new relationship, take a pause and keep watching your emotions each time. If the emotions are of too much attachment, then this relationship has got to work. This business partnership has got to work. Then release those attachments and come to this. If not, there will be something else, because the universe is playing in my favor. This last part is the crux of everything. If not, then it's not the end of this life. It's not even the end of all your opportunities. The universe will give me something more, because I would have released my energies of fear, and I will go in the next time in more awareness with a lot of freedom. Will you please talk about the next steps that we can do about if not, so what? The next step is simply when there's a whole series of steps, because if this, so what? If not, so what? That if not, so what is where all your expectations and outcomes are attached. So the first next step in that is to start releasing your expectations and outcomes. And as you start to release expectations and outcomes, also ask yourself the question: what is the worst that will happen if not this? What is the worst that will happen? That will bring out the worst fears in you. And those programs that you are operating from, which are highlighting your worst fears, and these are where you are giving all your energy to, they will come out. Guess where all of this has to go? into the candle. And you will start to realize on your own, as you contemplate this question the next time, if this, so what? If not, so what? The next time you contemplate that question, it will not be so burdensome on you. You will actually be able to say, okay, if not, the universe is playing in my favor. It will bring me another opportunity. And you let go of that anxiety that you have attached. Do you let go of the actual work that you're doing on? No, you continue to work on it, but without the anxiety and fears and expectations attached to it. One is work in the physical, and one is work in the energies. Do the energy work first and then jump into the physical. You will find the outcomes are absolutely amazing. And now, just simply releasing. So take a deep breath in, and you are the energy of Meenal. And exhale all the worries, all the anxieties, the burdens that are sitting on your shoulders, and simply feeling light. In this moment, feeling so light. And I want you to consciously bring a smile to your face. Bring a smile to your face and feel the heart lighten up. Release all that is not serving you anymore. All that is not serving you anymore, thankfulness to it, gratitude to it. It was here to show you some experiences, and now you're going to choose different experiences. As your mind runs to a couple of places, to a couple of instances, simply hold your thoughts over there and give a lot of love to each of those instances. Whatever comes to your mind right now, just simply thank that person or that situation, whatever comes. Thank them for the roles that you have played, and they are in your life. And if they are there, so what? If they are not there, so what? As you go through the emotions that might be here, the fears of the if not, so what? Into the candle right now, in the energies of Meenal, taking all the energies of Meenal, being Meenal. You are Meenal. You're taking all my energies to come into this place of freedom. Freedom from outcomes, freedom from attachments. And the only thing that you're taking forward at this point in time is unconditional love. Experience the unconditional love as I send it to you. And it's now yours. It's yours. Experience it. May the energy of love envelop you and be there with you at all times. Om Mani. Beautiful. So I hope that all of you will be able to come into equanimity as you start to observe more and more. Thank you so much, Shrikant. As you observe more and more, may you find the peace sooner and sooner to be with you. This is the end of our session. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you here next Saturday. Bye bye. Lots of love. Thank you all.